Hello guys and welcome back to another figure review. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another figure review. Today we're going to be reviewing the Flash Heatwave action figure. Taking a look at the standard DC packaging for these kind of figures, we've got the TV Flash logo plastered across the bottom, the DC Collectables logo at the bottom, and of course all your warning gobbledygook. On the side we have the character's name Heatwave, and on the back we have a picture of all the action figures that are available in this particular range. Of course we have the Flash, which I have already reviewed on this channel before, Reverse Flash, Captain Cold, and of course this figure, Heatwave. On the side of the box there is a photo of the action figure with a load of fire behind him. A cool, neat little touch to add to the packaging. Okay, so first of all, looking at it in terms of detail, it doesn't really look much like the actor that plays. The character on TV. However, it passes for Heatwave. I'll allow it to pass for Heatwave. One thing I will initially say is that the figure is very bulky. Now there is another DC figure, I think it's called the Electrocutioner. In terms of weight, he's very similar. I have reviewed that on my channel previously before. I'll leave a link in the description below to the Flash figure review and the Electrocutioner figure set that I was just discussing. So let's take a look at the detail on this action figure. First of all, looking at his face, again, like I said, the face sculpt's not very much like the actor that plays him, but the glasses do look really good. I think there's a lot of detail that's gone into this, and for a figure that only costs £6.99 from B&M here in the UK, I think it's actually quite worth it, especially for the detail that you kind of get on the face and the glasses. I mean, there's even wrinkles on his face. Moving down, you can see there's even some extra padding, some creases. Even the tiniest of silver buttons on his coat have been painted silver. The zip's been painted silver. This is the kind of quality I expect to see in a figure that I'd pay around £15, £20 for on its own. The fact that you can buy this figure for £6.99 is just beyond me, and it's definitely worth it. On the side of his arm, he does have some kind of emblem, something to do with fire. I'm guessing it's supposed to be Heatwave's sort of character logo. It's something I've never actually noticed. I don't actually think he's ever worn this particular outfit in the show. But in terms of detail, especially with the little button on the pocket above, it's a neat little detail to add. Moving further down on his jacket, as you can see, there's even a pocket detailed there. And of course you can see where his gloves are clearly separated and a completely new addition to the sculpt. Looking at his hand, you can see that there's actually a lot of detail just on one of his hands. I think that's a fantastic addition to the hand and the overall figure in general. On his back, he does actually have the letter CCFD. Of course, that probably stands for Central City Fire Department. It leads me to believe that the character actually is a fireman, or it's at least a fire outfit that he's wearing. Makes sense, it would be thermal and somewhat fireproof, but at the end of the day, he is a thief. So why work for the fire department? I don't know. Moving down to his legs, there is a little holster here where his gun's supposed to hang. From testing it, it doesn't hang very well, but if you were going to pose it for photographs or to play with, it'll probably last and just about stand there. Moving down to his pants are very similar to the rest of the pants. There's a pocket further up. You can tell a lot of sculpting's gone into this. There's also a little bit of extra detail where it's painted slightly black on the back of the shoe. Well, it looks black on camera, it's actually brown in real life, but it is a nice little addition and it does break up the grey colours within the figure. Looking at the character's shoes, honestly this figure is so well detailed. I mean, there's little silver toe caps on there, there's a little leather thing that goes over the boots, but they are just basic black boots. I think in terms of painting on this figure and adding detail to it, this is one of the most detailed action figures I've ever had the privilege of reviewing. So let's take a look at the articulation of the action figure. But first, out of 10, what would I rate the detail? I'd rate it a 10 out of 10. There's just so much detail on this for such a rare, well not a rare figure, but such a figure that not many collectors might want. It's not really a character that's massive in the show. Of course he is in the spin-off Legends of Tomorrow, but in terms of actually looking like his character and the fact that there's all these details, If you're a DC collector and you want to get as many of the DC fans, many of the DC villains, or the Flash's Rogue Gallery, this is a figure to get, especially if you want it for the detail. But let's take a look at the articulation. In terms of articulation, his head can move slightly, but it is hindered, and it can also move up and down. His arm is ball jointed and can do 360 at the shoulder. It can do 360 at the elbow, and of course bend 90 degrees. His wrist can also do 360 and bend forward and backwards. Moving on to his legs, he can do 360 at the waist. Again, not something I would recommend with an action figure, as the joint does get removed. He can do the splits surprisingly well, even though it is hindered by the holster. He can go a lot further than you'd think, even with the jacket he wears. He does have a double jointed knee bend, in which he can kick himself in the arse, and there is some foot swivel. In terms of articulation, this figure has a ton. It's one of the most articulated, detailed figures I've come across in my figure reviewing career. Would I recommend this figure? I absolutely would. It does come with some accessories. One of those is 4 spare hands for looking like he's punching and fighting. We'll take a look at them shortly. But first, I'm going to rate his articulation a 10 out of 10. He does such a good job at articulating. We don't need a thigh swivel because he can bend his double knee. It seems to be a trend that all of the sort of DC figures within this line tend to usually have double jointed knees, which is a plus because we always like it when they can kick themselves in the ass. After all, he is a bad guy. Let's take a look at his heat cannon. Okay, in terms of detail for this heat cannon, I think it does a really good job of sort of displaying what the gun is. I mean, of course, we have some kind of canister here with some detail on. Some 2 silver pipes. Of course, we've got a little prong here, which is, of course, where the fire shoots out of. On the other side, there's what looks like someone's taken Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor Sonic screwdriver and, well, remodelled it. But other than that, you can tell what it's supposed to be. Obviously, it's supposed to be some kind of capsules that withhold sort of power, however he powers this gun. There's a really nice sort of silver little bit of metal here. That's a nice little detail, especially with all the screws painted as well. And of course, this little detail here. The handle is of course plain black, and there is a nice little sort of gap here. In terms of quality and robustness, this is actually a really strong accessory. This bit here is a bit flimsy, but even maybe that bit there is a bit flimsy, and the wire and this bit here. But in terms of displaying it and playing with it, it's a really robust accessory, and it's something that does go well with the figure. And of course, keeps in mind the detail of the action figure on the accessory. So no points lost there. Okay, so the other accessories this figure comes with is another 2 sets of hands. We have these ones, which are very much fisted, as if he was going to have a fist fight. And basically the same ones as he has on, but a spare. In terms of the fact that he does have another hand to shoot with, and another one that's kind of sort of relaxed, as if he was going to sort of hold something within his hand. Taking this one hand off and replacing it is quite simple. It's just a simple pull, and then of course are replaced with whichever hand you want. So we say we replace it with this one. It just pops right in there, and it's pretty much the same as it is on all other figures. Okay, so of course this is him holding his gun. He doesn't hold it quite well, his fingers don't quite really touch the trigger, but if you were going to take photos, make it look cool, display it, he does display it quite well. As for the hands, again, you saw me putting one in. They are quite stiff to take out and put in, but I'm sure the more you do it, the more you get used to it. So overall, this figure, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Quite frankly, there's so much detail into it. There's so much articulation. The gun's detailed. You get some accessories with the spare hands. As a collector, it's a must-have figure. I think if you want to build up your collection, if you want to display some cool action figures, Heatwave is one you need to buy. And the best part about it, that if you're in the UK, sometimes it's quite easy to pick them up in shops like B&M. If not, I'm sure you can get them on eBay quite cheap. So that's it for this review. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like down below, and of course hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more figure reviews or any other content on the channel. Hit that notification bell so that you always get alerted whenever I upload. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Goodbye for now, guys. Goodbye.